Hello and welcome to Conversations with Lady Pruitte. Joining me today are my 4 daughters. I am so excited that they're here with me today. Since May is Mother's Day month, I decided to, what better way than to celebrate with my daughters. So I'm going to start by asking them to introduce themselves. We're going to start from oldest to youngest, and then also include something that you enjoyed doing as a child.
I'm Twain, I'm the oldest, and I enjoy doing art projects.
I'm Gillian, the second oldest. I am the boss and the middle child. And as a child, obviously my favorite thing to do was reading. Anything with books, libraries. I used to make like little fake book fairs, and that was probably my favorite thing as a kid.
I am the third in age order. I'm Deanna. And I think my favorite thing to do as a child was do like pretend stores, play fake money, play money, and making my family members come and shop at my store.
I'm Dolores, I'm the youngest, and my favorite thing to do as a child was painting my nails and playing with different toys I bought. My parents bought, sorry.
True. All right. Now, I want to ask you ladies, while we were growing up in our family, we did experience financial challenges, especially early on when we had our first 3 daughters. So what were some things, though, that you ladies, especially the older ones, enjoyed doing as a family?
I liked all the road trips. I liked telling stories, and my favorite was when we would start a story. One person would start a story, and then everybody else in the car had to like add to the story. By the end, it was something crazy. But we had so many road trips that was probably my favorite thing.
I would say the holidays, preparing for Thanksgiving and Christmas and the decorating and things like that.
Snacks,
yeah.
Rice cookie treats and whatnot.
not the caroling though. Caroling. That was
a terrible childhood.
I think for me, just as a family, we developed a lot of like inside jokes, like silly songs or just running insults against each other that was done in love. That was just super silly. That was probably some of my favorite.
Yeah, and I think your dad was definitely the author of those songs.
He wasn't the finisher though. I think now we can definitely get a run for his money, like when we come together now. But as a kid, yeah, he definitely was the ringleader.
Yes, he was. All right, Dolores, for you, things were different financially as when you came along. So what were some things that you enjoyed doing when you were a child?
I like traveling. That was fun. Going to like different resorts, Dominican Republic, and visiting family down there was fun. We didn't have as many road trips, but the 1 or 2 I remember.
Because we got to fly an airplane.
I have to fly 5 tickets.
My first flight, I was 12.
Me
I
too.
do remember enjoying flying.
I bet.
Road trips.
All right, ladies, I am going to ask you, I'm going to name some things, some events in our lives throughout your childhood, and I want to get your reactions, all right? So the first one is the family wiffle ball games.
Yeah.
2 thumbs down.
Didn't like it then, don't like it now.
Awful. Forced fun isn't fun, ladies and gentlemen, okay?
Dolores, did you enjoy it from what you remember?
I don't remember it as much, but I don't remember enjoying it.
Okay. We have one vivid memory of Dolores playing wiffle ball. She must have been about, what, 2 or 3? Yeah, maybe 3 years old. And it was her turn up to bat. She swung, she missed, and then she threw the bat in the air and said, "I quit."
Yes.
Which tells you she was born in a different era.
Yes. We weren't allowed to. We didn't have those liberties to voice our opinions.
Power to Dolores for standing up to the man, because he was definitely
No. And your dad, growing up, Dad always said that we gotta have fun. Whether you like it or not, we're gonna have fun.
There it is.
All right. How about the family picnics?
I don't remember much.
Oh, okay. You have a thumbs up and a thumbs down. I see, Delaney.
Well, I mean, it was nice to get out and have family time, but there were many times in our childhood where, we would go on a picnic and Mom and Dad would fall asleep on the blankets, and my sisters and I would just be sitting there all the
tourists in DC would just be walking by, like, look at these poor children. I don't remember the pictures. My only picture memory is that time that we did not have bread to feed the ducks. And my father pulled out some sticks of gum and was like, and I remember thinking to myself, man, are these ducks gonna make it? I don't think we're supposed to be doing them gum.
Yes, big red gum. I remember that.
And it was spicy. I was like, yeah, it's spicy. It's gum. I'm like, what's gonna happen to these ducks? They were eating it. It was tearing it up.
They were. All right. How about the Saturday breakfasts?
Another number two.
I don't remember them.
What it sounds like.
Well, there was a period of time in our childhood where on Saturdays, every member of the family was responsible for deciding what we would eat for breakfast. And some people, their choices were, eggs, bacon, corned beef hash, potatoes.
If we're gonna do it, we'll do it big.
So much. And another family member who, when it was their turn, we eat cereal. No matter.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, like who wants to just eat, a bowl of cereal on Saturday?
Every morning.
Exactly. All right. How about our trip to Disney World? No.
Let's not.
All right. How about we give it some context? So I'm gonna ask Delia, give some context to.
So what happened was,
right.
Okay, I think we were 3 and 4 when the man of God, the head of the household, said, I'm going to take my children to Disney World. And sometimes blessings take a long time to manifest. This blessing took so long to manifest. By the time it manifested, I was 19. Okay. We were all basically legal adults except for Dolores. And he was like, we're going to pay your way there. But when we get there, amen, you have to cross the Jordan yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Step in the water.
You have to step in the water and walk, right? So it wasn't an all expenses paid trip.
Not at all.
So it was half. A lot of expenses paid. But I remember bumming $50 from Lane, so I got some spending money.
I think it was so you can get in
the park. Right. Because the pay was like $30 or something for a park or something. I don't remember what it was. It was something high. It was. But I will say it was kind of a running joke. But he kept his promise.
Right.
And I would say I got to go another time, like a few years later, like on the company dime.
All
expense paid. I was like, okay, this is why Disney World is the thing. But
I never saw the magic of Disney. I mean, when I was an adult working a job and my father forced me to take PTO, use my leave to go on this trip. I wasn't.
But Dolores,
I liked the actual, place that we stayed, but that was
they had a nice pool.
And we got a really good picture of Dad, Delana, and Dolores on that mummy ride. That was funny. We didn't need nothing else picture. We got a picture.
Yes.
Three of them on that ride.
They're all crying.
It was great. Priceless. That was worth and the weather was really bad. It rained
the whole time.
But it was worth
off and on.
Yeah.
Well, Dolores had a different experience. So Dolores, what was your experience? Because you were younger.
I enjoyed it. I didn't have to pay for anything, so I enjoyed it.
I think Disney was more magical for her.
Yeah,
so
I would go back. I would go back. What
did you enjoy most about it, Dolores?
Again, my expenses being paid.
Okay.
If I wanted something, I could ask my dad to get it for me. Going on the different rides were fun. I mean, for a 7-year-old going to Disney World, obviously it's exciting. So,
yeah.
Okay. All right. I have one more. How about the road trips to Grandma's house? Those were fond memories.
I like the road trips themselves, the actual road trips. Once we got to Grandma's house, that's a different story. But the road. We're talking about Philadelphia, Grandma's house.
No, we're talking about Tennessee.
Tennessee, Grandma's house. Yes. Okay. I enjoyed those. I like the snacks on the road, and I liked, again, telling the stories and stuff. But we always had like a bag of fried chicken, and I didn't know at the time it was so that we didn't have to keep stopping. But we have like a bag of fried chicken, bag of fruit, bag of maybe like Capri Sun or little hugs or something like that. But we always have food to last us the entire
Rice Krispie treats.
Oh yeah, just for the whole entire ride. That was my favorite. Absolutely.
All right, how about you, ladies?
I enjoy the trips. When I was younger, I enjoyed them. My favorite part was definitely pulling up to Grandma's house. In Memphis, it was just like, we're here. I love my grandparents. And I think as I get older, looking back in context, like that's how a lot of Black families function. Like that's how that was the vacation, the trips and the staying with grandma. And so knowing that my family participated in that, you know, cultural kind of experience that so many other Black people in this country have, for me, that adds value to it, knowing that we participated in that.
Mm-hmm. Dolores and Delana?
No, I enjoyed the trips. I mean, you know, the various stops at these random places, you know, along the way, they were always fun for me.
I enjoyed when I came around, we would fly.
You say Dolores definitely got it better.
Had that drive a couple of times with my father, but I enjoyed flying.
True story.
I enjoyed sleeping on the plane, waking up 2 hours later. Oh, we're here. Not 14 hours later. I enjoyed that. So.
Okay. All right. So what are some things you wish you would have done more when you were younger?
More?
Or it could be less.
When I was younger, I couldn't think of anything I would have wanted to do more.
Mhm.
But I know when like certain popular like clothing or like toys would come out, I would really want them, and I would ask my parents for them, and the answer would be yes. And I remember specifically when Heelys came out, I really, really wanted a pair so I could roll around like the rest of my friends in the hallways at school. But my parents just really would not buy me them, so I was a little hurt by that.
Dangerous.
But other than that, I can't really think of anything I would have wanted to do. But I know like there are certain things I would have wanted, like items.
Okay.
I can kind of agree with, I guess, Dolores. You know, I really enjoyed my childhood. Had lots of exciting adventures. So I couldn't think of anything that I would want more of. I could say less of. We went to church a lot, especially, you know, at our older church, we would go on much longer church ride, or, you know, longer trips or whatever to get to church. And sometimes they'd be in the middle of the week, and it just felt like we were at church every single day. Again, as a kid, you know, just it felt like we were in church.
Getting home
Very late, you know, and get up and go. Yes. So, you know, when it's in the middle of the week, and every Friday night, it's like the broadcast doesn't start till midnight. So, you know, shut-ins in the church, and, you know, it was a lot of church.
I think for me, I mean, if I could do more of something in my childhood, I think it would have been travel. Like,
I was gonna say
that. It would, yeah. Like, we did, you know, again, that wonderful context, Black cultural experience of driving. But it would be nice to, you know, maybe go skiing for a weekend in wherever. As an adult, I realized that was not in the atmosphere, in the stratosphere of my parents' budget. But I know if I could pick any one thing that I think I really would have loved to do more of in my childhood, it would have been
like beach vacation.
Yeah, you know, different types of travel, things like that.
Hiking,
right?
Or, you know, right? Maybe camping.
Well,
A broader scope.
Do you guys do remember? Okay, when we were able, even as you got a little bit older, able to do vacation, we'd go to like the cabin in the woods, like Shenandoah Crossing.
Love.
I remember my first time we went to a resort or whatever. We stayed in a condo, and I've always remembered exactly how it looked, you know, exactly how it looked and everything. I remember our first one. I've never forgotten that one.
The cabin was special. Like, that was probably,
it was very nice.
Yeah, like, because it was different than just
we
getting in the car and driving around with relative. But that was something we did just as a family. And it was a complete change of environment and scenery. Yeah. That was always really cool.
As a matter of fact, Dolores, you do remember going to the cabin?
I always liked the cabin. I ended up going back actually a couple years ago. I went back. We stayed in New York.
Yeah, and you used to love the swimming. Every time you went there, you wanted to go to the pool.
Yes, I would pick the cabins kind of thing over like the resorts. The resorts were never really just my personal.
That's my
personal
personal
beach.
Well, yeah,
I like the
and the
resorts.
funny part is, I'm a beach lover, and my husband is definitely the cabin in the woods, mountain type of person. So we always, every time when we were able to finally take vacations, it would always be okay, beach vacation or cabin in the woods type. He would always be cabin in the woods. And me, I remember when we first did our first beach vacation was like I think it was like Hilton Head or something like that. And when we actually first got to go to the beach.
I wish that worked.
Oh well, you missed the beach. See, that would have been your
that.
opportunity to do the beach vacation. And then I think, and then after that, of course, you married and moved on, and then we went to like the Dominican Republic and different things. All right, very good. All right, ladies, What are some things that you do today that make you think of, oh, I remember my mom used to do that, or my mom does that?
I would say the way that she calculates everything, she's gonna, not just financially, she does do her budget real tight. And I do the exact same thing. To the extreme, yes. You should see my spreadsheets, they're amazing. But even like food, she's like, I know how much my family eats, to like down to the grain of rice. And she'll sit there and be like, okay, look, this is going to be dinner for today and tomorrow. So if you go back for leftovers, just know that you're eating your dinner for tomorrow. And I do the same. I find myself doing the exact same thing now. My husband will be like, so what am I allowed to eat? But even like calculated risks, if you come to her with something, she will calculate, okay, is this something that you're going to give up in, 4 days? If so, she's not going to invest in it. She's going to tell you to go forth and conquer. And you be great. But if something that she's like, you're going to look back on this day, you're going to really wish you would have done this, or you're going to really value, this trip, like or whatever, my trip to Europe. I still value that to this day. And she'll buy into that. She will, again, with those calculated risks, she's going to buy into your future if she believes that you're actually going to do it. So that's kind of what I would think of when I think of her.
I would say, for me, I think like how she's always like trying different things. I feel like me too, I'm always like finding some new hobbies to try out. Like first it was nails, then I was doing art stuff, now I'm making candles,
there you go.
Now I'm doing hair, I'm doing different types of like I'm always trying some stuff. Like my mom was like Delia had said before, like how she how started painting during quarantine, how when quarantine first started, she was painting every single day in this kitchen with her Hamilton soundtrack. Every day during quarantine, and then she moved on from that, and now she was doing puzzles. Like she's always trying new stuff. I feel like I probably got that from her. Like I'm always like, okay, I'm bored doing this. I want to try something new and do something else. And then at the end of the day, I have a well-rounded, like I guess education, like doing all these different things, all these different hobbies, stuff like that. Obviously, I got that from her.
Well, one thing I do that I know my mom does and still does to this day is mix my kids' names up. I'm always calling them the wrong person, wrong name. Sorry.
It's a mom thing. It's a mom thing.
It comes name. I got it honest.
I think for me, my mom is a mom and a wife, but she still has like her own identity. Like even when she was, having her career, like she has always maintained her own identity. And I think as I walk through, womanhood, when the different challenges that life brings, like holding on to a piece of yourself that's just yours is so special and so important. And I think my mom modeled that you can be a mom but not be consumed by your kids and consumed by your marriage. She always took care of those things. She always made sure, her marriage was in good shape. She always made sure that we were in good shape, but she always held a space that's just for her. And I think that's something that's really, really deeply ingrained in me. Like I never feel like I have to be consumed in somebody else's care or identity to have my own. I'm able to hold space for myself. And I think I definitely got that from my mom. And also not opening 2 bags of chips at the same time. That's the thing.
Yes.
Or 2 drinks.
Yeah, having 2 bottles of juice.
Don't do that.
No, we can't do that. Don't do that.
It's a sin.
In the Pruitte household, yes, it is. Yes. This is what would mom prefer? All right, one or the other. Cooking or cleaning?
Cooking.
Yes. All right, a fancy restaurant or a family barbecue?
Fancy restaurant.
Family barbecue.
Oh, stop it.
Yes.
Outside.
I like being with the family. Oh,
stop. At a fancy restaurant.
I love steaks on the grill.
Please.
Oh,
I don't believe that.
Me neither.
Okay. They know me better than I.
Of course.
All right, the next one. Reading or writing?
Reading.
Yes. Easy one. Traveling domestically or traveling internationally?
Internationally.
You got it. All right. Playing a game or watching a movie?
Watching a movie.
Okay. Listening to music or teaching a class?
Teaching a class.
Eating cake or eating ice cream?
Cake.
At the same time.
I would love both, but if I had to choose one, which would it be?
Cake.
All right. Dressing up or dressing comfortably?
Comfortably. I don't think she likes actually dressing
Let's
up.
see. Dolores,
In daily life, I think she's
Comfortable.
adjusted to
That's
dressing
true.
comfortably.
Yes.
That's true.
that is very true. It's very true. All right. Going shopping or looking at houses.
Looking at houses. Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yes.
Singing or dancing.
Neither.
I have to choose one, right? But if I have to choose one, which one?
Dancing.
Dancing and portraits.
I say definitely
I would
dancing.
say
Definitely
dancing.
dancing. Yes, I love dance. I love dancing, especially with my grandchildren. We used to dance every day.
Oh yeah. And Zumba.
All right, ready? Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Whoop, whoop.
There it
Yeah,
is.
ding, ding, ding. Very good, you guys. Very good, very good. All right, so we're towards the end now, and I'm going to ask you one last question. And the question is, what is something that you admire or makes you proud that I'm your mother?
Where to start?
Listen to her.
Well, then I'll start. I would say the thing I admire most about her is the way she views her marriage now as a partnership. You know, she found her voice in her marriage, and she's been able to build a partnership rather than, you know, man and wife, and you got your roles on your side, and I got my roles on my side. She's learned how to go through it together like a team, and I've admired that so much that I've, you know, patterned my marriage after that as well.
I would say, I've known her the longest out of everyone.
Long stretch.
Anyway, just knowing who she was, when I was a child versus who she is now, she's much more free. She's much more confident in who she is, and she's just seems happy. And I aspire to that.
I would say like how growing up, how she kind of treated us all fairly. Like it wasn't like it would be one rule for one child and one rule for another. I feel like she was pretty fair as much as she could be, as far as raising us, and like would cater to each of our personalities and how we acted. I feel like when it came to that, she would be pretty fair.
And for me, I think one of the main things, like my mom really knows how to like really hone in and listen. Like when somebody's talking to her, she can completely see and hear like that individual. And that's so important. I don't know, like it's when somebody really feels like they're really seen and heard, it's so validating and affirming. Even if you don't agree with everything that they're saying or doing, to know that somebody's really good at just seeing and hearing you. I feel like my mom really does, especially because the four of us are so different. Like we're so different, but as a mom, you know, she really can speak to us at our level and at our love language really well. And that's something that I really, really try to do all the time, because I know for me in my adult relationship with her, it's something that I see a lot more. And it's an area I think she's really grown in, because she's the first lady and has to deal with all kinds of people. So that's something I think I really admire. And then going back to her commitment to taking care of herself, committing to self-care and holding a space for herself. Those are the two things I think from my mom that I admire the most. Because even, again, mattering outside of the roles of wife and mother or even first lady, every decade she throws herself into something new passionately. And it makes me feel like, okay, I hit 20, I can still, work on something. Hit 30, we're still working on something. So it gives me that hope that, okay, I can keep mattering and keep holding space for myself and adjusting that space, as I get older. So I think those are the two things I really admire her. It makes me proud of her. Like my mom, can do these things.
Still matters.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lady. Well, one thing I want to do, I would like to share, my daughters, I'm very proud of every one of my daughters. Love them all dearly. And things, I admire things about each and every one of them. Delana, I admire the way that she has just taken on the role of mother and wife. She's always been a very mature child, always mature for her age. And she has a kind of a quiet strength about her also, where, she takes things, she can take some knocks and you would know that, she's wavering. So that's something that I admire about her. With Delia, of course, Delia is the life of the party, smile in the room. Anything that I need or could possibly ask. She's always concerned, always asking me how I'm doing. That's something that I admire about her. She's also super talented in so many different areas. She can work with children, she can work with adults. She's an analyzer. She can analyze. I think she should have been a psychologist.
Yes.
She missed her calling because she diagnoses everything and everybody. But she's so good at it. I love that and admire that about her. Deanna, I love how Deanna also has taken on the role of wife. I used to be concerned whether Deanna was going to get married or not. And then, but she married well, and she just took on the role of a wife. And then I love the business sense, the business savvy that she has, and carries, and then also how she's passionate about her gifts and her talent and the things that she does. But Dolores was my baby child who came later in life.
Planned child.
Yes. One of the things I admire about Dolores is Dolores it can be a quiet person. She's kind of a little shy or whatever. But one thing is Dolores is actually a very caring person. Yes. Dolores is extremely caring. And I don't know if she realizes that people notice that, but I noticed that. I noticed that in her conversations when she talks about people, I can tell that she's really a very caring person. And I really admire that about her. And I know, my daughters, they're all successful, they're doing well. And even those who, Dolores is younger and she's coming into her own. I just thank God for every one of my daughters. I love each and every one of you. I love you, Delane. I love you, Dilly. I love you, Deanna. I love you, Dolores. And I love all of you. And I want to thank you for joining us for this session of Conversations with Lady Pruitte, as you got to see just a little glimpse of growing up in the Pruitte household, how I, as a mom, interacted with my daughters. So thank you again for watching us, and please stay tuned for next month, June, where I would have another conversation with meaningful people in my life. God bless you.